Do not be afraid to take risk and be a disruptor. Don't be afraid to take risks. Greetings and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. I am your host, Coach Charlene, and it is wonderful to have you here today. We have had a wonderful series of nursing the profession in crisis for the love of the profession. And as you all know, I started this journey out really just wanting to find out from different nurse voices, what are they doing? What did they do to sustain themselves? And if there were any strategies to help out. And it was such a wonderful journey. I initially wanted to do it for September, but the stories kept pouring in. And so we did 2 months worth, and I actually have more, but I will do that at a later date. So this is going to be my wrap-up segment for the Nurses series. And I am so grateful that you listened, and I hope that you were inspired. I hope that you were stirred up a little bit. I hope that you got some things settled within yourself as far as the profession and healthcare as a whole. Now, I know there's so much more to talk about, but I'm going to actually go through the top 3. If you notice on the podcast, I always ask these trailblazers and change agents, what would be your top 3, whatever it is that you can encourage the audience with? And I love to kind of open that up and make that free flowing. So I did do that with this. And so I'm going to do quick wrap up, and then I'm going to give you their top 3 that they talked about. And then I'm going to give you my top 3 that I actually believe that has helped me tremendously through my nursing career. And so let's start off with my visionary, Dr. Jean Watson. And I call her my visionary, you guys, because I tell the story within Jean Watson's podcast. So you might want to listen to that to see the full story. But she was very significant in my nursing career when I was at the point of burnout. And so her top 3 was continuous self-development. The second one was to find your own path and have that as a foundation for your profession so that it can guide you, similar to Caring Science. Practice kindness was her third one. And you know what was really significant about Dr. Jean Watson? She talked about telling the healthcare system to wake up. And she talked about the transformation that we needed from the inside out with systems as well as with self. So all of us have to do the work. We can no longer expect to get things done working from the outside in. We have to have a total transformation from within the organization out. And us as human beings, same thing. We have to begin to start working from the inside out and not hold on to the external things that really don't serve us well. So very powerful series. Go back and watch it if you haven't done so. Matter of fact, with all of these, if you haven't had time, go ahead and just do it while you're running, while you're doing whatever you're doing. But I'm telling you, you're going to be inspired. Now, my second guest was Erica Hooper, and she just exudes light. And her number 1 on her top 3 was be who you are. Shine your light. Live authentically. I love that. Her second one was, what makes you light up more? Ask yourself, where am I needed? What can I offer? What gives you that spark? Moving, and then she wants you to start moving in that direction. Once you have that light and you sense where the spark is, then start moving in that direction. And her number 3, of course, was to give yourself permission to care for yourself. We shouldn't need permission to care for ourselves, but as healthcare professionals, we do a horrible job of caring for ourselves. And so that has to be a priority in the times that we're living in. What I liked about Erica, she talked about, she had a session that she went to, and the facilitator said, give yourself permission to have joy. You don't have to stay in a negative mindset. You can give yourself permission to have joy. I thought that was really a nice golden nugget there. Okay, so Dr. Renee Thompson. Renee Thompson gave us some wonderful insight. Her top three was be a person of faith. She's a woman of faith, and her faith is what drives her every day. And so as you're beginning to do things, you're going to have faith for it, because a lot of times we don't have the resources, we don't have the influence yet, but you have to be a person of faith. And the second thing I thought was awesome, because that means that she's a continual learner, is to read every day, learn something new every day, because she loves to read. And so, number three, go out and build relationships with people. You have to begin to start making those connections with people. And I think what was really significant, because I call Renee the incivility master, but she really is called to bring civility and kindness back to our workplaces. And that's what she does with all of her being. That's her mission. And I think one of the things that I like that she said was, if you've mastered everything, or if you've mastered where you are, don't be afraid to explore other opportunities. It's okay. There's some unrest for a reason. Okay, so let's talk about Sarah Horton. So Sarah, she said, number one, know yourself. Number two, be yourself. And number three, radiate love from your heart. I like when she was talking about find what feeds your soul. Find out what fills your cup. And we need to work on unifying and belonging more than ever before. And then we had Catherine Chadwick, the Sunshine Quotient Queen. And her top three was to determine your purpose. And I loved also that she talked about have some humor, lighten up, stop being so tough on yourself. And then number three, which is to understand how you talk to yourself. That is so critical. And that's where one of the highlights that I love that she shared was about the mind diet. The mind has a diet, just like our bodies have a diet. And it's so critical to be careful what you are feeding your mind. Your mind is like a sponge, and it will take in whatever you give it. So you have to monitor what you're giving your mind, what you're feeding your mind. And I loved that she talked about the self-mastery, because I truly believe that if we can master ourselves, if we can govern ourselves, then we will not have to be governed by any other person or situation. And I love that she said all of this is a choice. Now let's talk about Tanya. Tanya, this powerhouse, her top three was to enjoy being a nurse. Number two, enjoy taking care of others. And number three, to show love, caring, and compassion. I loved when Dr. Tanya talked about showing up with authenticity, accepting yourself is such a priority. And one very significant thing that I thought that really resonated with me was to enjoy the moment, because we cannot get moments back. So enjoy the moments with your patients. Enjoy the moments with a peer. Enjoy the moments with your family. Be authentically present in that moment. And it will make such a difference, because you truly cannot get those moments back. Let's keep on going. Now we have two more, and that's Grizel Hernandez, and she is the Queritas coach, and she is amazing. And she talked about her top three is to give yourself grace. Stop trying to be a perfectionist and being 100% all the time. Give yourself that grace that you need. Number two, she talked about make a choice to block off time just for you. Even during her busy day, she blocks off 30 minutes. That's her lunch. She's not doing meetings. She's not doing anything, of course, unless there's an emergency. But I thought that was awesome because my director also tells us about putting that on our calendar as well. So blocking out time for yourself so that you can pause and do whatever it is that you want to do. Her third one was when work ends, let it end. When she's done with work, she leaves work at work, unless, of course, there's an emergency. But the message there is to cut it off because it'll be there tomorrow. And what a really, really interesting, there were two interesting things that Griselle shared. And she started asking people, instead of how you're doing, how is your heart? Powerful, powerful, because it's a total different answer. If you have someone that you're counseling or you're talking to and their heart is not right, asking them how they're doing, I mean, it's not really effective, but how's your heart? Now, you probably will be there for a while listening about how's the heart, but you really are getting to the heart of the matter. And I love that. And then she talked about, you know what? I taught my staff how to go to the spa every day, several times a day. And I thought that was phenomenal because SPA is an acronym and it stands for S, slow down, slow down. The second one is presence. I love that she said that because in presence, she said, it's like you do a body scan. Where am I feeling the stress? Is it in my neck? Is it, where am I feeling that at? And then you can do your breathing techniques or whatever you need to do to focus on that area. And then A is awareness. I mean, powerful because as you're washing your hands or as you're pausing before a challenging meeting, you can do a quick spot break. I mean, just absolutely brilliant. I'm going to be using that one really soon, Griselle. And then we have Dr. Rain, one of my favorites. He was in Hawaii, and I'm so glad he took the time to share with us. He was one of my professors, and his top three was humility, because we don't know it all. The second one was curiosity. He encouraged us to be genuinely curious, asking questions. And then, of course, number three is respect, because every one of us have a story. Every one of us have a journey, and every one of us can learn and contribute while we're down here on this earth. Absolutely amazing. So I just want to thank all of my guests for being a part of this series. I'm pretty sure that I will be doing more on this topic because we are a profession. I believe, though, that as we have experienced certain things in our past, we can now move ahead with different insight, with different strategies, so that we can become the best and highest expression of ourselves, so that whatever we're doing in life, that we can be the best and operate in the spirit of excellence within that. And so now, Coach Charlene's top three. I'm going to give you my top three. I mean, it's really tough. I noticed that I asked the top three, but you can keep talking forever. But quite honestly, I had to ponder and I had to sit and think, like, what really would be my top three that I want to give to my listeners? And you know what? I came up with number one is to allow your significance and your service to collide with each other. What do I mean by that? I mean, allow who you are authentically. Once you discover who you are authentically, you show up with that full authentic person and you allow who you are to mesh with what you do. When I understand who I am, when I know who I am, I can't change who I am for anybody, or let me say it like this. I refuse to change who I am for anyone. See, that had to be an awareness that I gained over the time, because there was several times, several moments that I did not show up my authentic self because I was afraid that I was going to make someone else uncomfortable, or that, oh, they won't like me, or, oh my God, that might be too much. You know what? I don't know. Maybe it's the over 50 thing, but I'm not tripping off for that anymore. Now I allow who I am to collide, to mesh with what I do. And so that's powerful because I make a greater impact when I'm who I'm authentically created to be. I touch lives better. I inspire more. I am more present for that person, for my patient, for my staff member when I can be authentically me. So that's number one. And you heard that theme throughout a lot of the different guests that came on the show. Know yourself, be yourself. I mean, you heard that theme. It's so critical to be able to do that. And then the second one I would like to offer is pay attention to the unrest in your soul, in your insides. Pay attention to that unrest. Pay attention to that frustration. Pay attention to that because your soul is trying to talk to you about something, perhaps move you in a different direction, perhaps do something different for you or allow you to do something different. So pay attention to that unrest. It really is a governor, quite honestly. And then the third thing I would say is do not be afraid to take risk and be a disruptor. Don't be afraid to take risks. I'll have to share one of my mentors, my coach, our coach, me and my husband. His name is Al Hollingsworth, and he's pretty amazing. And as he was coaching us in certain areas, he said, Charlene, you're trying to swim around in the pool when God is calling you to the ocean. And he's calling you to the ocean because he's going to allow the ocean to pour back into the pool. Oh my God, that was a mic drop because quite honestly, most of us stay so comfortable and we want to keep doing what we're doing because it's safe, because there's a safety net there, because this is what I know, and because I'm afraid to step into uncertainty. So you continue to swim around in the pool. And that's okay. You have an impact that's in the pool. But when God is trying to do a little bit more in your life, he's trying to launch you out into the ocean where your service and your significance can reach a greater audience. Oh my gosh, I hope that is going to touch somebody because that touched me quite deeply. And that's why my whole journey is to be the best and highest expression of myself so that when it's time for me to take a risk, I can take a risk and I can jump into the ocean and allow that ocean to pour back into the pool. So whoever that's for you. I hope you can receive that. Now, you've heard all of the top 3 that all of my guests shared. Now, I would love to hear from you, my listening audience. Why don't you let me know what would be your top 3? And I'm going to just leave it there, just like I just shared right now with you on all of the different change agents and trailblazers that came on along with my own. What would be your top 3? So I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm always giving you tools and strategies because when that moment chooses you, I want you to be able to respond to it. Thank you so much. And we'll see you on the next episode.